Hello, Tribesters and Extended Tribe. Welcome to another episode of Conscious Experts. Today, I have the opportunity to welcome Jarvis Smith. Now, listen, Jarvis is more conscious than most, and especially one of the most conscious guests that I've been able to welcome onto this show. And this could be conscious experts or conscious leaders because he's both. He is truly a pioneer in the space of sustainability. And he's an inspiring leader, and he's inspiring millions of people to live more consciously, be more aware of their choices and the impact that they have on the planet. I am so excited for this conversation and to introduce you to Jarvis. So without further ado, welcome to the show.
So welcome, Jarvis. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to see you.
I'd love to start with just a bit of background on you. So can you talk to us about you? Give us a little introduction.
Oh gosh, the worst bit is talking about yourself. Well, I am a co-founder of an ethical lifestyle business called My Green Pod. I'm in business with my wife, Katie, who's the editor-in-chief, and a bit like you guys, working in a husband-wife team, which is brilliant. I love it. I'm a father of 5 children. I've got a 15-year-old and a 32-year-old and a couple in between. And I guess my life is focused on trying to educate and inspire people to understand the climate crisis that humanity has created and is continuing to worsen. And my role in business and as a person is to try and, underwrite people's abilities to remember that perhaps this is an opportunity for the species to evolve together. And so I do a bit of spiritual work, and I'm a practicing mystic or shaman or whatever, whatever label people want to put on that. And before getting into business, I trained with a female shaman in England for 14 years. And essentially it was about the qualities of listening to nature, being able to interpret what nature is trying to teach us, with lots of yoga and energy work and things like that involved. So I guess I'm also a musician, a signed recording artist with a band called the Phoenix Rose, and I've just released a single actually. So I'm kind of doing lots of things, all with the same hairstyle, not different hats.
I mean, the man doing it all. It's like very well-rounded, but obviously purpose and that connection to nature and helping inspire others is at root. How did you get into all of this initially? Even like pre-shaman, what was there a pivotal moment that sparked your interest?
There's been a few, right? But I think the strongest two when I was very, very young. So as a child, before I could as a toddler, I remember being in my bedroom, and my house was quite dysfunctional when I was a child. And I remember sitting in a room and an angel standing over me, classic Archangel Michael type angel, white wings, white outfit, not saying anything, just kind of standing stoically over me, keeping me comfort. So I remember that. I have that as a memory. And that being has been around me energetically all of my life. Then that kind of got forgotten as I got a bit older. And then I remember going to see Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back, one of the Star Wars films, and Yoda and Luke Skywalker were having this interaction. And I just knew, and it sounds crazy, but I knew I had the same skills that Yoda was teaching Luke. I just knew that I had those abilities. I don't know how. And so then I forgot about that because I got into my teenage years. I think I was about 8 or 9 around that time that happened. And then I went through my teenage years and went through this cycle of, loving life and drinking as much as I could and taking, substances that perhaps aren't legal in all places. And, and just became a bit wild. And I became so dysfunctionally, living dysfunctionally in that process that it caused me to halt. And I remember this path in the road, like, I'm going to either kill myself or I need to quickly sharpen up. And thankfully, I took the road of sharpening up. And that's when I found my shamanic yoga teacher. And actually, pre that, I did a bit of Reiki. So I remember being up all night with a friend of mine. We used to stay up all night just being naughty. And he said to me, he was telling me about Reiki, and I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. I'm going to try that. So I went out the very next day to find someone, and I went for a Reiki session, and it was all right. And on my third Reiki session, I got this amazing feeling of just joyful bliss, like just ecstatic feeling. And it opened a door for me. And then and that was in my early 20s. And then I became questing for spiritual fulfillment. That's when I met my yoga teacher and then trained with her. So there's lots of different entry points. And thankfully, mine happened in my early 20s when I really consciously got on that spiritual journey.
Can we talk a little bit about your experience on Dumped? Because this also seemed like something quite pivotal.
Yeah, massive.
For not just you, probably
Yeah.
for many that watched you on
Dumped. I don't know what it was for anybody else, but I certainly know it had an impact on me. So that was my career defining moment. Yeah. So I've always been quite a good advertising salesman, and then I became a creative person within publishing environment, helping brands to create campaigns. And I got a call one day. I was in the office working for publishers. I got a call from a TV researcher from Channel 4 saying, we really like you. We've seen something that you did before. We think you'd be a great personality. We're doing an eco-observational documentary. It's not Big Brother. It's not like that kind of sleaze. If it is sleaze, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Sorry, not quite sleaze. That's the wrong word, but yeah. Would you like to be on it? And I said, well, it sounds amazing. We didn't know where we were going. All we were told is we were going to be living on an extreme environment. And it turned out that we had to live on a landfill for 3 weeks with nothing. So we had to build somewhere to eat, somewhere to sleep, somewhere to shower, somewhere to go to the toilet, and all out of other people's waste. And it had a huge effect on me, because what this was, it was the opposite end to any shopping platform or high street. It was the dark side to what we call consumerism. And it was essentially everything that we were throwing away. There is no away. You can't throw things away because it all goes back into the planet in some way, shape or form, or into the atmosphere now if it's being burnt. And it was a massive wake-up call for me. And there was this one pivotal moment. 3 weeks in, we're in our third week. We'd built somewhere lovely to sleep and shower and go to. We'd built all that stuff. And so it become home. The local dustbin truck or refuge truck, if this is going out to Americans, would go around the streets, collect the rubbish and take it to the landfill, came and dumped it on our site. We had to dress up in overalls and mask and protective clothing, and siphon through this stuff and decide what could be composted, what could be recycled, what had to go to landfill. So after about 15, 20 minutes or so of doing this, I began to feel headachy, toxicy, that worst hangover type feeling. And I said to the camera, I can't do this anymore. It's making me feel sick. I need to go and release this energy. I went and lied on the earth. Because of my shamanic training, I knew how to release, kind of toxic energy in my energy field. So I did that, release. And just what I do to replenish is take this huge breath up from the earth to be kind of, restored, if you like. Took a deep breath in. And as I did it, I had got like this kind of bolt of lightning type moment. I heard these words audible, like within my inner ear. How you are feeling now is how I feel. I'm sick and I need your help to tell the world. And I just felt like the earth had spoken to me. It was a proper, like, Moses type situation. And I just like, wow. And I immediately committed to camera that I dedicate my life's work to inspiring and educating people about the issue, which we now know is a catastrophic climate crisis. So that was in 2007.
Yeah. And now 2022, and it's just getting worse.
Yeah.
But there is more awareness. So I'd love to know, what was sustainability like then, and how has it evolved to now?
Yeah, so it's a brilliant question. So back then, no one really understood even what sustainability was. There was conservationists that really understood what sustainability was. But there were a few companies out there that were offering, I guess, more sustainable options, the interfaces, the Patagonias, the, Ecovas, brands like that. But there wasn't a multitude of brands. Now there's a whole, lifestyle ecosystem out there. It's amazing. So it was tough, but because I'd had the profile from the show, and I was able to leverage the fact that I'd just been on this massive Channel 4 TV show that was about, recycling, actually, ultimately, it is what it was about. I was able to get through to speak to owners of companies, and they would give me the airtime to have a conversation. And so we launched a magazine off the back of it with the publishers that I was working for then. Then I took the project to National Geographic. Within 2.5 years, we got a deal with them. We launched the biggest ethical lifestyle magazine the world had ever seen. And now we still do an extension of that, but with our own brand, which is My Green Pod. So I think what I've noticed in the last 10 years is that it was very slowly growing. And in the last 3 years, it's exponentially grown. It's like the curve has gone like that and just gone like that, which is exactly the same curve as the carbon emissions.
Wow, that's interesting.
Right. So it's been trickling up and up and up and up and up. And in the last few years, it's just gone zoop. So it's massively, massively peaked. The issue with it now is if we don't actually peak to the point that we cannot go any further within the next 2 years and decline by 45% by 2030, we are going to be heading into uncharted territory of temperatures rising. If we continue on this trajectory that we're on now, we are heading to not 1.5, which is the unstable level. We're heading to 3 degrees temperature rise, double what we are supposed to be hitting. So what's happened is, and I'm sorry that I'm digressing, but I'm just giving a bit of context to your question.
No, this is great.
What's happening is that because business owners like you and I have been in one business and realize that's quite actually a toxic industry, they're getting into the most amazing, disruptive, sustainable, ethical, eco, all kinds of businesses. And actually there's a whole new paradigm being created. The problem is that our economic structure is still built on the old economic system, which essentially is fossil fuels. The biggest crisis is energy. Like you have to start with energy, which is around climate. But the second equal important aspect of that is biodiversity and ecosystems. And actually, humans are trying to fix the climate issue with the energy, fossil fuels and everything else. I actually believe the real, true healing opportunity is with nature and ecosystems and biodiversity. Why? Because if we get out of the way, nature's brilliant at doing what it does.
Okay, so there we have it. Another episode of Conscious Experts. That one was with Jarvis Smith. And actually, he is conscious expert. He is conscious leader. He is a pioneer in sustainability and taking action to better the planet and inspire others to connect with themselves, connect with nature, connect with how their choices are impacting the greater good. So if you're interested in hearing the full interview, then join Tribe, our membership, our holistic well-being membership across mind, body, planet, where we explore meditation, mindfulness, yoga, sustainable living practices, just to name a few things. Plus, you've got your Conscious Leaders, Conscious Expert series, and a host of other things, including special discounts even from sustainable sources. So if you're interested, then look at our website, consciousworking.co, and click Tribe, and you will be directed to where you need to go. Also, if you are interested or have any specific questions on burnout or well-being, then please, please, please send me your questions. I like to answer real questions from real people that have real concerns about their state of their well-being, or if they think they might be suffering burnout or on the verge of burnout. I am here to answer your questions because you know what? I have been there too. So send me a message however you want, by email, on Instagram, through any sort of comments on our social channels. Until next time, everyone, be here and be well.